From Martinsville Speedway, among the beautiful rolling hills of Southern Virginia, the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series is ready to claw their way to victory lane. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Independence Racing Network. The Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series has been getting tighter every week, as our winner at Richmond last week, Bobby Blazer, is holding on to a slim 10-point lead over the driver who is second in points, Mike Wright. Speaking of tighter, Martinsville Speedway is about the tightest track on the NASCAR circuit, so get ready to see some of the best sim racing you've ever seen tonight. This should prove to be an exciting night for racing. I'm Dave Regal and will be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag, on the Independence Racing Network, sponsored by Northeastern Fire and Air. And folks, we are glad to have you in with us tonight, as last night in the Cup Series there was kind of a caution fest, as we had 23 cautions for, goodness gracious, I just forgot how many laps it was, but we had 23 total cautions. It was definitely kind of rough. And right now, watching these drivers here in qualifying, as we take a look here at Joe Stafford wrapping up his qualifying effort here in the number 57 Chevrolet, the pride of Philadelphia, sits atop the leaderboard, followed by Kavaja Holt in that 00 Ford. We'll take a look here at Chris Claude, who is just finishing up his second lap in the number 10 Dasani Water Toyota. Chris Claude, of course, your Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series commissioner, out here laying down a P11 offering for qualifying. Taking a look here at the way things are in Martinsville, Virginia tonight, 70-degree air and 103-degree track temperature is definitely the number we're going to be taking a close look at tonight, as that's definitely going to change the grip levels and grip patterns on these cars here as they make their way around this 0.526 mile racetrack here. And, you know, 0.526 miles, yes, if you were wondering, that is the shortest on the circuit. So not that there's anything wrong with that, but definitely something we should all be, cognizant of as we get underway. Tim Trowbridge wrapping up his qualifying effort, as it looks like Ian Humphreys here in the number 32 Toyota Supra making his way out onto the track. Looks like Humphreys is going to take it easy here, and as he logs his first lap, only gets a P19 and rubs the wall just a little bit, so that will probably invalidate that. And, of course, Bobby Blazer, strong driver tonight, and, of course, our points leader here in the car, painted that is the number 35, but according to iRacing Timing and Scoring, he's actually the number 90. A lot of that has to do with his custom paint scheme, and wow, Blazer just shot to the top of the leaderboard there in P2, and he's still not done yet, as it looks like he is desperately trying to get over on Joe Stafford from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, here in this number 35 blue oval. And he comes across the line, and it looks like he can't beat Joe Stafford, who looks like Joe right now has just gotten, pretty much everybody blown away, as he scored himself a 19.55 with Blazer at 19.63 for his qualifying effort. Looks like only about 4 drivers, now 3 drivers, haven't gone out to make a qualifying attempt. And, quite frankly, you don't blame too many guys, especially at a place like this where things are going to get a little hairy moving forward tonight, as Zach Vaughn finishes his qualifying effort in 15th position. So while these drivers wrap up their qualifying, we are going to step aside and hear from our good friends over at Buttkicker.
With the Buttkicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Buttkicker. The future is feeling.
In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have: breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today, and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air. And we welcome you back to Martinsville, Virginia, where the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series is just wrapping up their qualifying effort, as just two drivers have not gone out to log any qualifying attempts here. Right now, looking at Eugenio Alonso. As it appears, Alonso now getting himself some traction on that first lap, swings it out here to the right side. And after that first lap, he scores himself a P11, which shuffles Michael Overstreet, Jeff Carson, Bob Nestor, and Chris Cloud back each one position, as now we should see him try to lay down a much hotter lap here for lap number 2. Here does Eugenio Alonso in the number 86 Chevrolet, as he comes around and, my goodness, just blew Bobby Blazer out of the water by 2/100th of a second, with a 19.61 second qualifying effort. So now, just two drivers have not come out to lay down a qualifying attempt. That's Matt Mackin and Ryan Samuelson, with just about 2.5 minutes left in qualifying. So, folks, welcome into the Independence Racing Network broadcast booth. I'm Dave Regal here at the microphone, operating all the ones and twos and getting you these camera angles tonight, as we're settling in for 250 laps of thunder here in the Monday Night NASCAR Series. Of course, we do stage racing in the Monday Night NASCAR Series, so we'll have stage 1 end at lap 75, and then stage 2 ends at lap 150, and then there would be then 100 laps to the end. Like I said, last night's Cup Series race was kind of rough, as far as cautions went, so on and so forth. So the Xfinity Series here has managed to set kind of the tone with driving clean and, safe, good racing. So I think it's something that we're definitely going to see, where drivers are going to be giving each other a little bit more room. Plus, as we stand right now, there's only 26 drivers on the opening grid. So definitely not a whole lot of people there to worry about, as far as starting with 33 or 35 people out on the track. Joe Stafford does sit atop your stack here, followed by Eugenio Alonso, Bobby Blazer, and Kavaja Holt. So definitely quite a talented top of the rack here, as we get ready in about 45 seconds for green flag racing. And with qualifying complete, we will take a look at this beautiful starting grid as everybody getting ready to take their positions here. Joe Stafford from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, gets that pole position here in the number 57 Chevrolet. On his outside will be Eugenio Alonso in the number 86 Chevrolet. Bobby Blazer in the number 90 Ford that will be marked as the number 35 Ford. Starts the inside of row 2 with Kavaja Holt on the outside. Row 3 is Mike Wright and Tim Trowbridge. Row 4, J.C. Gibson, Jarrett Small, and Jarrett Phillips. On the inside of row 5 was Dakota Cave on the outside of row 5, rounding out your top 10 and here on the starting grid. Row 6 is Carlos Ramos and Michael Overstreet, Jeff Carson and Bob Nestor, two Joe Gibbs Racing teammates in the 03 and number 29 Toyota Supras in 13th and 14th. Zach Vaughn and Chris Claude, they're also teammate in 15th. Jackson Derby in 16th. Aaron Mack, Brad Gunn, Alexander Gangler, and Tom McGee round out your top 20, with Ian Humphreys, John Bawalda, Ryan Samuelson, Corey Burkett, Matt Mackin, all rounding out your 26 cars in the field tonight. And, of course, we do want to take a look here at Joe Stafford, your pole sitter. One person that we do want to be keeping an eye on here is Ryan Samuelson, and we will get a chance to talk to him this evening, as he did win the Cup Series race last night, and of course won the Xfinity Series race in this race 1 year ago, as well as qualified on the pole here in Cup Series last year. So Ryan Samuelson definitely has the number of this racetrack in Martinsville, Virginia. So as the lights are off on that iRacing.com pace car, listen, call a friend, get that box of popcorn ready to rock and roll, settle in, because that man in the stand has the green flag in his hand, and we are about to go green flag racing here in Martinsville, Virginia. And we are underway. We see these drivers side by side, with the 57 and the 86 of Eugenio Alonso battling it out right now. And lurking behind them is Tim Trowbridge. Tim has every week so far been right up here near the front early on in each race. And unfortunately, and it looks like he almost got eaten alive by Jarrett Small in the number 17 Chevrolet. Eugenio Alonso now out to about a half-second lead over Joe Stafford, and Stafford perfectly capable of just riding behind him and keeping an eye on things, as he doesn't want to get too overzealous this early in the race, as now Stafford has about 0.6 of a second between himself and Alonso. Meanwhile, back here in the mess, Jarrett Small chasing down Tim Trowbridge there for third position. But quite frankly, I think we're going to see some incredible racing all over the field tonight, as Jeff Carson is chasing down his teammate here, Bob Nestor, in the number 29 Relative Properties Toyota Supra. And we look back up here to the front, as it looks like Jarrett Small has gotten himself ever so close now to that rear bumper of Tim Trowbridge as they dive down into turn 1 and 2. Rolling themselves out here down the backstretch. Looks like they will spread out single file, but there on the high side, the number 51 of John Bawalda getting out of the way, making himself not an issue here, as he doesn't want to get in the way of any of these drivers, including Mike Wright. Wright, of course, they're in 6th position now, and of course also trailing Bobby Blazer. So they are running 5th and 6th here tonight at Martinsville, but 1st and 2nd on those point standings for the season. And folks, there are some amazing prizes and rewards, of course, for these drivers as we get ready to head into the warm season of racing. As you know, there are some butt kickers, and there's an RS Button Box I flag available for these drivers to be winning. So plenty at stake here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. And I'll tell you what, most of these drivers have now gone single file and chosen to start to ride this one out here as we cross the line for lap number 9 of 250, working our way to lap number 75. And these drivers perfectly capable of getting single file and getting ready to work on one another one spot at a time. No reason to get, wholesale positions when all you're going to do is lose control and give up that position that you then proceeded to work so hard for. As it looks like we do have our first caution of the day. Perhaps Aaron Mack got it all wrong here. We'll take a look back. And it sounds like they are still wrecking coming into turn 4, but we'll ride here along Aaron Mack as it looks like things are getting pretty hairy out on the track. Aaron Mack getting sideways here, just enough to screw the entire camera up, and we see him just kind of sitting and waiting. Because, one flick here, and it looks like the 13 then of Corey Burkett gets himself all kinds of sideways and faced the wrong direction. And, of course, not really sure what Burkett was trying to do here, as it looks like several drivers have gotten themselves all kinds of wrapped up in a mess. Just no place to go, to be quite honest. I mean, this track is so narrow. When you're trying to avoid certain wrecks and instances here, it's kind of hard to see. And folks, you are watching the Independence Racing Network here, bringing you the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series 250 at Martinsville. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a like. Feel free to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so that every Monday night you can get a reminder that we are on the air here. And feel free to shout out there in the live chat. Let us know who you're pulling for, which driver is who you're trying to support tonight. As it appears here with Eugenio Alonso still sitting atop the pile. Not that many takers. In fact, only Jackson Derby, Alexander Gangler, Tom McGee, and Aaron Mack, of course, who were all involved in that kerfuffle, opting to come down for pit service. And those lights on the iRacing.com pace car still on, as one of the toughest things here with this track is, for lack of a better term, it's so small that you can't really get everybody shuffled around, and it's so tight that you can't really get yourself where you need to be in order for restart. But we should see that pace car light turn off this time by, and we should be one to go to green. As when we go back to green, we will have a little bit of a different layout from what we started this race with Eugenio Alonso up in P1 on the inside, with Joe Stafford on the outside of row 2, Tim Trowbridge and Dakota Cave in 3rd and 4th position, respectively. 5th place is Jared Small, J.C. Gibson in 6th, Mike Wright, Jared Phillips, Michael Overstreet, and Bob Nestor round out your top 10. As that pace car drives down pit road, Eugenio Alonso has the field under his control as we are waiting for the man in the stand to wave that green flag. He does, and we are back underway here at Martinsville Speedway. And you can see, folks, just how little amount of room there is here on the track as we watch them come through turns 1 and 2. And going into 3 and 4, it looks like Alonso is taking a little bit of a higher ride through there on the concrete, as this track is unique in that it has asphalt down the straightaways and concrete to lay over top of that asphalt through the turns. Definitely something that many people don't account for, especially when setting up these cars. And we're looking back here. We see Chris Cloud working on the inside of the number 91 car of Zach Vaughn, and Zach Vaughn ceding the spot to Claude. Now is Bobby Blazer in the number 35, working the outside of Carlos Ramos, getting around him in that pink number 97. And now Blazer puts the 13 car back into his sights as the 13 driven, looking for it. That must be a misprint as far as his number goes. But manages to get around there with the 97 in tow. The number 13 is Corey Burkett, who is laps down, so as it is. So Burkett giving up that spot. Bobby Blazer, of course, your points leader. One heck of a strong driver. We take a look in here at Jarrett Small, who is chasing down Tim Trowbridge now with Dakota Cave in his rearview mirror. Cave there between Small and Mike Wright. So there is all kinds of a points battle going on up here in this top 10 kind of section here. Looks like Bob Nestor has dropped himself back to 12th as he has decided to get out of the line of fire, which is probably okay for right now. Worked his way into 11th with his teammate Jeff Carson in the 03 Toyota Supra now, cracking into that top 10. So Jeff working on getting those bonus points for the end of the stage that we are marching toward at lap number 75. And we see Rebecca Miller here in our live chat saying, let's go number 7. Number 7 driven by Dakota Cave, who we did just look in at just a short moment ago. Dakota Cave, of course, from Fishersville in this number 7 Toyota Supra, running right now in 5th position, up 5 spots from where he had qualified back in 10th. So glad to see him making a lot of progress here tonight, as it seems like every week we're always talking about Dakota Cave here in your top 10, somewhere floating around in there, or if not in the top 10, right nearby, as he is one strong driver, and we're glad to have him here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. And of course, thank you for watching, Rebecca. Call some friends and get them all tuned in here to Monday Night NASCAR, as, you know, one of the things that we continually talk about is that, and we see the 17 of Jared Small getting alongside the 32 of Ian Humphreys. Humphreys a lapped car here on lap number 24 of 250. You know, we talk about it all the time that not only is the simulation immersion so realistic in sim racing, but also the broadcast aspect of it. I mean, you know, although that you can tell that these are computer-generated images, at the same time, this is about as realistic as you can get, you know, with a broadcast experience for essentially video gaming or sim racing in this particular point. Right now, these cars taking all kinds of easy turns here. As you know what, I have to be completely honest. This early in a race, you don't want to be up there duking it out and possibly beating the bejesus out of your car. So everybody basically single filed out here, which not a bad way to be at all. And we can take a look all the way back through the field as these front 6 cars here, all single file, then plenty of space between Nestor and Ramos back here in 12th and 13th. So nothing but single file racing here at the moment. And the only thing that even closely resembles it is Alexander Gangler here in the number 82 FedEx Toyota Supra, working the inside of the number 34 of Jackson Derby in that Dunkin' Donuts paint scheme car. You know, Gangler now leading in front of the 47 of Tom McGee. McGee, of course, had a rough night last night here at Martinsville. So he definitely had to be starting behind the 8-ball, so to speak, in this piece. But, and it looks like McGee gets himself all kinds of loose as Tim Trowbridge, working his way around him, now puts Gangler in his sights. So, like I say, folks, Not a whole lot of double file racing as we check in here with Eugenio Alonso in the number 86 Chevrolet, who has now opened himself up a 3.5-second lead over Tim Trowbridge. And Trowbridge, of course, still back here duking it out with Jarrett Small in the number 17, now working their way around Alexander Gangler in that number 82. And something that I'm betting Tim Trowbridge might have wanted to see was this caution come out so he could get brought back together with Alonso, as we are under caution for what appears to be Jackson Derby crashing. And we will watch Jackson Derby here in the number 34 Dunkin' Donuts car. And we see him just get it all kinds of hot going into turn 3 and 4. Gets himself sideways, but fortunately grabs that piece of grass and doesn't take anybody else with him, which, you know, as far as when you're watching these guys drive around here, you know, it's always, although that it costs you, you know, a little bit more time as you're trying to recover and get your car back on pace, it's definitely more courteous there for the rest of your fellow drivers out there on the track.
With the Buttkicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Buttkicker, the future is feeling.
In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have: breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today, and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air. Fans, welcome back. We are still under caution here, as we should be getting the one to go from the iRacing.com pace car. And so far tonight, definitely a pretty exciting evening here on the Independence Racing Network, as Eugenio Alonso leads this piece up here ahead of Tim Trowbridge, with Jarrett Small in third, Mike Wright in fourth, Dakota Cave restarting in fifth, Jared Phillips in sixth, Michael Overstreet in seventh, Bobby Blazer in eighth, Jeff Carson and Bob Nestor round out your top 10. And that pace car from iRacing.com bails down pit road. And we are back green flag racing, as it appears that Alonso gets himself all kinds of a good jump here over everybody else, but being chased down by Tim Trowbridge. And Trowbridge not willing to give up early, but I'll tell you what, he's definitely got his hands full trying to keep up with Alonso. And right now, the way they run here on lap number 41 of 250, mind you, we are going toward lap number 75 to end stage one, as we're looking at Dakota Cave in the 87 of Jarrett Phillips. Of course, we have Jarrett Phillips and Jarrett Small, so we all have to be a little bit careful when we're taking a look at them. And everybody's got 7s near them right now, as Dakota Cave chasing down Mike Wright in that 38 Ford. And Dakota not willing to give up easily, as Mike Wright only has about 0.3 of a second, and we can see him getting ever closer as Jarrett Phillips is chasing Dakota down here. Dakota, of course, being shouted out a few minutes ago in our live chat by Rebecca Miller, saying that that's her boy, so she is proud of Dakota Cave, and we are proud to have him tonight here on Monday Night NASCAR. And folks, if you are just tuning in, feel free to turn on those bell notifications, subscribe to the Independence Racing Network so you can get a heads up on a notification every time we go on the air. As I'm Dave Regal here at the microphone, and glad to be bringing you some of the best NASCAR Xfinity Series racing that iRacing.com has available on the service. We, of course, are sponsored by Buttkicker and RS Button Boxes and Buttkicker, both donating some prizes and sponsoring the league monetarily, of course, to get these prizes to the guys here on track. And I mean, you know, these Buttkickers are not free, are not cheap by any stretch of the term. They are incredibly useful as far as, you know, immersing yourself in the iRacing experience. But unfortunately, they're not always easy to come by. So we are glad to have Buttkicker on board. And RS Button Boxes also, if you need something that just makes your rig literally a little flashy, you definitely want to check out RS Button Boxes and their iFlag system, as you know, you can hook that in there with the board via USB cable, of course. And we are under caution. Not real sure what's going on here. We will find out what may have brought this out. I got to be honest, folks, it appears that was debris on the track from NASCAR, so something a little bit different here every week. And, of course, speaking of different, we are watching the field shuffle around a little bit, as it appears Joe Stafford, J.C. Gibson, Brad Gunn, and Alexander Gangler, your lead lap cars who have come into pit here on lap number 30, back at lap number 35. Stafford in the number 57 Chevrolet must be getting himself set up for the end of this first stage here at Martinsville Speedway. These drivers have been working all week on these setups and getting themselves ready for tonight. And when I say working on setups, we are an open setup league here in the Sunday Night NASCAR Series. And what that means is that these drivers are not driving identical cars as far as the way that the chassis are set and the way that, you know, every little thing that's part of these cars is done. So a lot of leagues use what's called a fixed setup, which is where everybody's driving the same thing. It's basically a level playing field. Then, of course, in an open setup league, you're pretty much looking at everybody having something tweaked a little bit differently, whether it's air pressure in tires or, you know, the stagger on their wheels, or, you know, spring rates and pressures and things like that. So these drivers all, you know, setting their cars up to be most comfortable for them. So, you know, whether you're somebody who believes in, you know, strength of the setup or strength of the driver, iRacing.com has a little bit of everything for everyone, as these iRacing.com pace car lights are off here on lap number 52. We'll be getting ready to go back green with Eugenio Alonso in first position right now on the inside of row number 1, with Tim Trowbridge on the outside in P2. Mike Wright, Jarrett Small, Jarrett Phillips, Dakota Cave, Bobby Blazer, Michael Overstreet, Carlos Ramos, and Jeff Carson round out your top 10 as the flagsman starts waving that green flag wildly in the air, and we are back underway here at Martinsville Speedway. A lot of exciting racing here as we get back under green, as we are double file with Jeff Carson working the inside of what appears to be the 87 of Jarrett Phillips, and then Joe Stafford getting underneath Phillips with Bobby Blazer in tow. But on the outside of Blazer is who I'm looking at there in J.C. Gibson. They're in the number 27, working the inside now of Jarrett Small, that 17 black and pink car right there on the high side. Seems to try to be falling in, but J.C. Gibson not willing to give up easily in the number 27 Spotify Chevrolet. I'm sorry, Toyota Supra. As they are going at it hammer and tongs right now with just about 20 laps when they cross the stripe this time. And we are back under, and we see right here in front of us J.C. Gibson getting himself all kinds of sideways. We'll take a look at that, as it appears that wasn't the only thing going on the racetrack at the moment. But we will take a quick look at it. And I'll tell you what, we're going to go to my favorite camera angle. It looks like Gibson just ran into the back of, well, almost nearly ran into the back of Blazer. And, of course, that just kind of turns everybody around, including what looks to be Chris Claude, who probably had to come to darn near a complete stop in order to avoid this. As, of course, the iRacing.com server is always looking at speed of the car, so even if it's not, involved in the wreck itself, once you get that car below a certain speed, it will register as a crash. But of course, at the speeds that we run here at Martinsville, not really a whole lot of time, if you think about it, or not really a whole lot of ability to really beat the bejesus out of your car, as, it's most of these top speeds are just barely over 110 miles an hour. And folks, lots of action on the iRacing.com servers tonight here on Monday night, so always able to find something. But of course, we welcome you here to the Independence Racing Network broadcast booth, as I'm Dave Regal here at the microphone, giving you all these awesome camera angles and keeping an eye on things. Right now with Eugenio Alonso in P1, we have just about 15, we should have about 15 or 16 laps when we go back green here at Martinsville Speedway. Tim Trowbridge in P2 with Mike Wright in third, Dakota Cave and Michael Overstreet in fourth and fifth, Joe Stafford in sixth with Jeff Carson in seventh, Bobby Blazer in eighth, Jarrett Small in ninth, and Carlos Ramos in 10th. So a lot of action going on here tonight as these drivers, have been taking their time. I mean, we've had some cautions, which is completely understandable at a place like this, but, nothing that's not expected. What just happened with J.C. Gibson happened to several drivers a few times last night, where the driver in front of you gets those brakes, set just a few seconds before, and sometimes not even a few seconds, but a few tenths of a second before where he was for several laps in a row. And Gibson was anticipating, of course, Bobby Blazer to brake later, which, of course, he didn't. But Gibson able to dump it off there, get himself, out of the line of fire. And we are back under green here with Eugenio Alonso yet again getting one heck of a jump over top of Tim Trowbridge. And Trowbridge now left back here to fight Mike Wright in the number 38 as these two guys are going to be going at it hammer and tongs here with just under 15 laps. Lap number 63 of 250. We are working our way toward lap number 75. We see Joe Stafford and Bobby Blazer working at it tonight, right now in 5th and 6th position. And as these two drivers getting at it, they decide to go single file. But unlike the two of them, Mike Wright not willing to give up this low line, as that low line does take a lot away from the guy on the high line trying to make that turn all the way through. So it takes away his momentum, but at the same time, it does keep you locked into that higher position on the low line. Of course, it looks like Trowbridge able to get the run over top of Mike Wright, but Wright not able to completely clear him. Now, at this point, Mike Wright's got to be wondering, am I gonna hold this line and keep taking it away from Trowbridge, or am I going to slide up in front of Trowbridge and let him try to have the opportunity to dive bomb me here into 1 and 2, as he does go single file, but that now puts Stafford on the outside. Stafford gets himself a little tight going into turn 2 on his way out, as now it looks like Mike Wright thinks he can set sail and chase down Eugenio Alonso. And we see Joe Stafford here in the number 57 Chevrolet, the pride of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, charging down Bobby Blazer, as Bobby Blazer, your points leader, always trying to keep it interesting here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. And I've got to tell you, folks, these drivers not going to be giving up any room here, as we are on lap number 68 of 250, working our way toward lap number 75. And we see now Dakota Cave chasing down Joe Stafford, but things starting to settle down here, as it looks like these drivers have gotten those tempers in check for the time being. Of course, that can change at any minute here at Martinsville. Martinsville, of course, located in Henry County, Virginia, as we are now at lap number 71. And, this is a NASCAR-owned track that is the only track that's been with NASCAR since its inception in 1948. The track itself was actually built in 1947 by partners H. Clay Earls and Henry Lawrence and Sam Rice. And the track being built in 1947 was just about a year before NASCAR itself was formed as an organization. So this track definitely has some history locked up in it, and it's definitely a true short track at, 0.526 miles, so just barely over that half-mile mark. But, of course, we do consider it a half-mile track. Michael Overstreet in the number 39 Toyota Supra, as we are on lap number 74. I believe that will wrap up the first stage here. We'll take a look and see what happens at the end of this stage. And we see Carlos Ramos here, the number 97, as he is setting up to go into turn 3. Wow! Just snaps loose. Not really sure exactly what might have happened here with that car. I do, although that I don't usually like to sit through 14 replays, I would like to see what might have happened here from his perspective. We see him set up here going in, and he must have locked up a front wheel or something that had him like that, because my goodness, that was violent. As we'll try to find maybe a left front We'll see if he might have locked this bad boy up. Not really sure what might have happened. Perhaps a hardware failure at home. But that does wrap up stage number 1 here in Martinsville with Eugenio Alonso, Mike Wright, Tim Trowbridge, Michael Overstreet, Joe Stafford, Bobby Blazer, Dakota Cave, Kavaja Holt, Jeff Carson, and Jared Small rounding out your top 10. They will all get bonus points here, as it looks like just about everybody in the field going to be coming down for that pit road service. And, of course, the race off of pit road is now led by Tim Trowbridge, but Jarrett Phillips opting to stay out in the number 87 Chevrolet. Of course, he had just come down on lap number 59, so not that much older of a set of tires, but something to definitely be worried about, I would say, especially on the restart. You know, he runs a pretty strong chance of slipping those tires and causing the whole field to turn into an accordion. But it looks like the only car who hasn't come into pit at all is Bobby Blazer in the number 90 Ford, as it doesn't show that he came in at all in this last round of stops. But something tells me that iRacing timing and scoring is probably just wrong, as everybody through 21st position came down for pit service, including Carlos Ramos and Ian Humphreys. Now, we do have the choose cone here in the Xfinity Series, so we will see these drivers decide whether they want to be on the high or the low side, as the drivers that are now getting their wave arounds, getting that lap back, going to be working their way through here. And we see Jarrett Phillips opting for the inside line in the number 87. Of course, the rest of these cars trying to get caught back up to the rest of the field, as it was a little bit of a slow going here, as Tom McGee gets himself back in the line behind Bob Nestor. Jarrett Phillips waiting to take control here, as Tim Trowbridge on the outside watches the pace car dive down pit road. Again, we're going to be watching Jarrett Phillips fairly closely, as he did not come down on lap number 76 with everyone else. So he does get a good push here and launches himself. But I'll tell you what, those tires of his being just about 16 laps older than everybody else's is going to make him quite dangerous here at the front of this piece. And we see right now the 00 of what I believe to be Kavaja Holt here on the inside of Bobby Blazer. Bobby Blazer chasing down the number 39 of Michael Overstreet in that Milwaukee Tools Toyota Supra. Now everybody stringing themselves along here down to single file, which is something nice that we like to see here. You know, it keeps the racing that much cleaner. My goodness. Definitely one heck of a race, but here comes Eugenio Alonso on the inside. Oh, my goodness, and he gets Jarrett. Gets the 87 of Jarrett Phillips. And now it looks like Eugenio Alonso gets T-boned down here in turn 2. And we will run this back right here. No need to try to search for it in the files. But we definitely want to see this from a different perspective, as we see Eugenio just working the inside of the 87 car. And I told you folks, things were going to get a little hairy. And of course, Jarrett just gets down over top of Eugenio. Then, of course, Tim Trowbridge gets into the rear of Eugenio Alonso. Joe Stafford, looking for any place to go, takes Eugenio Alonso on that front left. And then Tim Trowbridge just T-boning him out of the way as, wow. And then the 0-0 getting the door there of Alonso. My goodness.
With the Buttkicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Buttkicker, the future is feeling.
And welcome back to Martinsville Speedway here in the beautiful hills of Virginia. And folks, right now, got to tell you, things just got real interesting real fast as Eugenio Alonso, who has been leading such a large portion of this race, got himself into a kerfuffle with the 87 of Jarrett Phillips, who still hasn't come down to pit after, obviously he could not hold it together with Eugenio Alonso on his inside. But that does change who our leader is tonight. Your new race leader in the number 74 Blue Oval Ford is Tim Trowbridge. And, Tim is one of these drivers that I am always glad to see out on the racetrack because he is usually one of the cleanest drivers. Of course, right now, as you can see there on the front of his car, looks like he's driving somewhat of a modified race car, as it looks like the nose of that may have been ripped off. But now Joe Stafford running in P2 as we get ready to go back green here with the pace car lights off and the choose cone ready to rock and roll. Then Michael Overstreet in third, Bobby Blazer in fourth, Eugenio Alonso now in fifth, Jarrett Small in sixth, Dakota Cave, Chris Claude, J.C. Gibson, and Zach Vaughn round out your top 10. And as we get ready to go back racing, we are going to step aside and let you folks at home turn it up and enjoy the sounds of this awesome race here in Martinsville, Virginia. And folks, we do have a new race leader here, as Michael Overstreet able to get around Tim Trowbridge just a few laps ago, and we will take a look back here where Overstreet was able to get around him if we can find it. As we saw back here for the lead, we see Overstreet just setting up behind Trowbridge and getting Trowbridge to go tight and high and just securing that lead with next to no issues, as we are under caution again here at Martinsville Speedway, as it looks like this caution is going to be brought out by all kinds of a mess. We're going to be watching the number 51 car of John Bawalda and see if we can't locate exactly what happened here, as the caution was out far before him, as it looks like the 87 car may have been the cause here again. Nope. Actually, it looks like we've got Eugenio Alonso involved in this one again. And we see Eugenio Alonso here set up behind Joe Stafford coming down the front stretch into turn one, and just gets himself all kinds of loose. Spun completely around and just takes a couple of race cars to the face. Of course, looks like Chris Claude gets into the back of the number 17 of Jarrett Small, but nothing he probably could have done there either, as Michael Overstreet, still your race leader here in this piece on lap number 102. And folks, you'll have to forgive me as we were just muted there. Not really sure exactly what happened, but that's corrected just in time for the green flag to fly here on the Independence Racing Network at Martinsville Speedway. Michael Overstreet takes turn one nice and easy, but just behind him, Dakota Cave and Bobby Blazer duking it out for second position right now. That battle for second heating up, and right behind them, they are battling for third and fourth, as everybody's trying to get themselves a piece of the action here tonight in Martinsville, Virginia. These fans here at this race, always thrilled to be here. And if you are just tuning in on YouTube, feel free to subscribe to the Independence Racing Network. Turn on those bell notifications and get a heads up every time we're about to go live here for Monday Night NASCAR, as we are the exclusive broadcast provider of Monday Night NASCAR, brought to you by Buttkicker and RS Button Boxes, and of course, Northeastern Fire and Air. In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have: breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today, and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air.
With the Buttkicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Buttkicker, the future is feeling.
And folks, we are on lap number 112 of 250 here at Martinsville Speedway in Henry County, Virginia. Taking a look right now at Bob Nestor, who has gotten himself up 6 positions, running in 8th place right now. But right behind him, so far our biggest mover of the night is Matt Mackin, running in 9th position in the 01 Chevrolet. Has himself up 17 spots now, running in 9th. So, listen, a tip of the cap to the 01 driver, Matt Mackin, as that takes talent to be able to navigate through the field, especially in a situation like this where the fighting is just fierce. And speaking of which, looks like Bob Nestor taking the inside of Jarrett Small, keeping him on the outside, as we have been talking about all evening. That inside line, definitely where you want to be if you're trying to make the pass, because you can take all of that flexibility away from that driver in the outside line. Wow, as it looks like Matt Mackin just shot to the outside, all kinds of tight. We'll see if we can figure out what might have happened there. And we see Mackin here going into the turn, and he was trying to avoid the 17 car and just decided it was probably safer for him to take the wall instead of the 17, which, got to be honest, I don't blame him for. Whoa, and he does the same thing behind John Bawalda. It appeared to be John Bawalda, just as we came back to him. But, of course, story of the night is Michael Overstreet in the number 39 Toyota Supra, sponsored by Milwaukee Tools. And that M18 fuel machine, or the MX fuel machine, taking it down with next to no problems here, with 117 laps complete now of 250. These cars have been working real hard all night. These drivers have been out here wheeling them around these turns, as these Xfinity cars, although that they may not be part of the Premier Cup Series in NASCAR, they are absolutely tough pieces of machinery to get around these tracks night in and night out. And these drivers, keep in mind, many of them just did 200 laps last night here at Martinsville. They're doing 250 laps tonight, and then tomorrow, I believe, another 200 laps in the Truck Series. So, you're looking at 650 laps over the course of 3 days. I mean, at this point, this race becomes a little bit more about endurance and seeing how long you can last before your arms rip off. A lot of exciting racing going on the track tonight. Wow, as it looked like Mike Wright was about to eat the back bumper of Bobby Blazer, as Blazer gets it rolling again now, still chasing down Dakota Cave, who has now worked himself into second position. And, of course, the interesting to note The interesting thing to note here is that right now, these leaders are trying to work their way along through all of these lapped cars. Of course, Overstreet running so many great laps tonight has nothing to do but keep logging laps as he now has Corey Burkett set there in his sights. Corey Burkett, I'm sorry, as Overstreet now just starting to rip apart and shred these lapped cars, as many of them, of course, have damage. But, back here through the field, there is not a whole lot of real estate available on the track. So always glad to see some great door handle to door handle racing. But when it gets single file like this, these guys start to kind of act like, this is a battle. They're sitting back and they're watching to see what their opponent is trying to do. As the 13 of Corey Burkett gets out of the way, stays high to get away from the leaders, which is out of respect. Of course, if he wanted to, he could go ahead and try to race them side by side. But out of respect, he knows that, he can have a chance maybe later on to get some laps back. But he is several laps down, as you will see up there in your... Oh, we see Carlos Ramos. I hope he just stays still and gets himself down and out of the way. My goodness. I can't believe that didn't cause a caution as he is stopped on the track back there. Wow. Carlos Ramos just nearly getting himself involved with the leaders as they came around. We'll take a look here on the inside. We see Ramos getting that rear end loose. He fishtails, noses into the wall, and it couldn't have been in a more horrifying time as he goes to get down and out of the way. The 36 car of Brad Gunn dives down pit road to avoid him, and of course now the 97 trying to get back into line. But wow, that was definitely a Code Brown moment as the leaders were coming around the turn down the straightaway, headed right for Carlos. And that'll bring out the caution here on lap number 130 of 250. Looks like Corey Burkett crashed, and we will take a look back here. And we see Corey Burkett in the 13 coming in all kinds of hot into turn 3 and 4 and just can't get it collected and noses into that wall there, which of course, turn 2 and 1 and 2, as that does happen more often than not here. And quite frankly, it's not unexpected. There are certain things that drivers can and can't do out here on the track, and coming in too hot is definitely one of them. So, folks, we're on lap number 132 of 250. We are working toward lap number 150 here at Martinsville Speedway, and quite frankly, these drivers have been working at it all night, so we're just about 15 laps away from the end of Stage 2, and once Stage 2 is complete, we're going to be looking at a balls-to-the-walls kind of situation where no holds will be barred, and these drivers going to be duking it out, going hammer and tongs at it for those last 100 laps. As Michael Overstreet and Dakota Cave are on row 1, once we get those pace car lights turned out, Bobby Blazer in 3rd, Mike Wright in 4th, Zach Vaughn in 5th, Jeff Carson in 6th, Bob Nestor, Joe Stafford, and Kavaja Holt with Chris Claude in the number 10 Toyota Supra, sponsored by Dasani Water, rounds out your top 10. So these drivers have definitely been working at it all night. And, a tip of the cap to them is, yes, we've had cautions, but, last night there were 23. I'm not sure what the number is so far. We'll have to get a count on that shortly. But things definitely keeping, everybody definitely keeping their cool as we look at Michael Overstreet, your race leader, in the number 39 Toyota Supra, sponsored by Milwaukee Tools and MX Fuel, as he will get himself all set up for the choose cone situation. Looks like he is, wow, look at those wheels glowing red. Not sure if those are glowing red from all the heat that's been built up, or if that's part of his wheel design, or a little bit of both. It is a little bit of both. And these drivers getting themselves all ready to rock and roll here on lap number 135, 136 when we go back green. And we are back green flag racing at Martinsville Raceway. And right now, for the next few laps, we are going to let you turn it up and enjoy this, because these cars, when they are racing like this, all tightened up together, is a thing of beauty. And folks, welcome back to Martinsville Speedway here as Michael Overstreet looks like he is poised to take away the green and white checkered flag for stage 2 here as Bobby Blazer and Dakota Cave in hot pursuit, but not close enough. As it looks like Michael Overstreet going to be able to hold them off as we will stay green through the end of lap number 150 as long as all things are equal. And it looks like Blazer getting hungry, but, oh. Oof. Well, Aaron Mack just happened to cause a little kerfuffle back here, which ended the stage yet again a lap early. We see the 31 car. Oh, and it looks like he didn't give Trowbridge near enough room to get around him there going into the turn. So unfortunately for Tim Trowbridge, who is himself a generally clean racer, that is gonna put him under some damage. And here they come down pit road. These will be wholesale pit stops as we are at the end of stage number 2. And we should get ready to start seeing this race off of pit road as it looks like Joe Stafford in for his pit service in the number 57 Chevrolet. But Tim Trowbridge going to beat everybody off pit road as Michael Overstreet just behind him. So Jared Small in the number 17 that hasn't been in since lap number 131 temporarily going to be sitting atop this pile. As, of course, the 13 car of Corey Burkett going to be sitting at the top of the pile for now, right up until that free pass is given. So that's definitely the end for stage breaks here as Tim Trowbridge is going to sit atop the pile now that Jared Small has decided to err on the side of caution. Tim Trowbridge in the number 74 will lead Michael Overstreet, Bobby Blazer, Kavaja Holt, Dakota Cave, Mike Wright, Jeff Carson, Bob Nestor, Joe Stafford, and Aaron Mack around this paperclip here at Martinsville Speedway. And in just a few seconds, we will see Corey Burkett work his way around to get that lap back. As Tim Trowbridge, and we'll take a look here at that number 74 Ford. Kind of looks like Timmy's got a modified going here. Of course, definitely not worried too much about whether or not it's going to overheat, as there is no grill, there is no nose. That whole front clip is nearly gone. But he will select that inside line. Here as the pace car lights are off. And the man in the stand has the green flag in his hand. Stage 3 racing about to be underway here at Martinsville Speedway in the beautiful hills of Virginia. And Tim Trowbridge finally gets himself the restart that he has been trying for all night long. Now his Blazer gets hung on the outside. And, well, I mean, he's going to be out there. But now Alexander Gangler definitely a slow restart here, as it looks like Gangler, the last car on the lead lap, about to lose that right as Tim Trowbridge is all up in his rearview mirror. Folks, if you're just joining us, watching us on YouTube, feel free to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications, as every time we go live, we'd like to see you here with us on a Monday night for Monday Night NASCAR. Of course, Monday Night NASCAR, part of the Sunday Night NASCAR family of racing, and we are under caution again as Jackson Derby appears to have gotten something wrong here. to be watching the 34 Dunkin' Donuts car as he just takes a little bit of that curb coming out of turn 4. And, here's the thing. These curbs are treacherous. I mean, you're going to see him just barely nip that thing. But it upsets the car so much with that suspension package that, and then he gets himself right into the 13 car of Burkett. So, my goodness. Definitely not the way that Burkett or Derby wanted to be having here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. And right now, folks, the only person, Tim Trowbridge, comes down for pit service. Interesting choice. So anyway, folks, if you are watching on YouTube, Rebecca Miller has been watching from start to finish. Her son is, of course, Dakota Cave. They're in the number 7 car. And tell you what, he's up here one more spot. He's up a total of 6 from where he started this evening. Dakota running in 4th place right now. And I'm impressed with him. Obviously, your mom is. And we're glad to have you there. All of you folks watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. Turn on those bell notifications. And if you do like the action that we have here on a Monday night, Sunday nights and Tuesday nights are also for racing. Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. over on SRM Sim Racing Media and ESPN on YouTube is the Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series, of course, headed up by the driver of the number 10 Toyota Supra, Chris Claude, of course, right now running in 10th position, so the 10 and 10. Then, of course, here on a Monday night, we have Monday Night NASCAR's Xfinity Series headed up by Bob Nestor here in the number 29 Relative Properties Toyota Supra. And then on Tuesday night is the Tuesday Night Thunder Truck Series for trackbookings.com, number 51 driver John Bawalda, with, of course, Jack Dow Motorsports as his team. And I'll tell you what, those 3 men, they are here to keep it together every week. And as these guys get around the track, there's a lot of work that goes on in the background, as it's not just hop in and put it in drive. There's a lot of work that's got to go into organizing these races. But right now, Bobby Blazer on the outside of Michael Overstreet, and I'm betting Blazer is going to try to take off, but Overstreet had his finger right there on the throttle. Wow, my goodness. He just takes off like a shot. And we see Mike Wright here in the 38 on the outside as Dakota Cave works behind the 00 of Kavaja Holt. Kavaja, of course, a very talented driver in his own right. I'll tell you what, I've been side by side with Kavaja, and he is someone who will hold that line. He doesn't come off of it, and he will make you work for that position. As we can see here, Mike Wright trying to stick it in right between Dakota Cave and Joe Stafford in the number 57, and he's just about got his nose in there, but he can't quite get down. And as we've talked about several times tonight, these drivers, once they're up here in this top line, if they aren't single file, it's hard to get in down there on the bottom. So, Mike Wright definitely going to be losing some spots here unless he can find a friend that'll let him in line. But right now, it doesn't look like Joe Stafford's going to be giving up any room at all. .167 of 250 laps complete at Martinsville Speedway. And, as we had talked about earlier, this Speedway has been around since NASCAR's very inception. And, it's definitely a speedway that, although that we've watched the likes of, Rockingham fade into darkness and North Wilkesboro, and so many other historic tracks, Martinsville manages to keep themselves relevant every year. And the drivers are always looking forward to get to Martinsville, of course, in real life. And it looks like, speaking of anxious to get to Martinsville, Alexander Gangler may have just had himself a bad end to his night. As he just overcooks that corner and whips it all the way around. To be honest, ovals are not always Alexander's forte, but I will say this. Alexander works our race control for Sunday Night NASCAR's Cup Series, and talk about a professional, just a professional individual from, stem to stern with this gentleman. College student getting himself, through one day at a time, but manages to find the time in between everything else he's got going on to spend some time with us here on Sundays and Mondays. And as we get ready to restart here, we should see these pace car lights turn off the next time by, as we will get ready for the choose cone ceremony on the next time around. Michael Overstreet sits atop the pile with Bobby Blazer, Kavaja Holt, Dakota Cave, Joe Stafford, Mike Wright, Aaron Mack, Jeff Carson, Zach Vaughn, Bob Nestor, your top 10, followed by Jarrett Small, Tim Trowbridge, Chris Cloud, Alexander Gangler, and Ian Humphreys in the number 32 Toyota Supra, rounding out not only your top 15, but there are now just 15 cars on the lead lap. Of course, we had started with 26, so definitely kind of a different night here. As, to be completely honest, the usual suspects are the likes of R.J. Root, and Austin Story, but tonight, in their absence, we have Michael Overstreet and Bobby Blazer out atop the pile, and these drivers not willing to give it up whatsoever. And we look back now to Tim Trowbridge, who was your race leader, coming in for service on lap number 159 last. So he may have actually had to serve that pass-through penalty. Of course, we talk about penalties here in iRacing, and, every time you make contact with another car, you're looking at what's called 4X or 4 incident points, as we are getting ready to go for the choose cone. As we see Michael Overstreet get ready to take the low side. 3 cars on the low side so far. 4 cars on the low side with just 2 on the top. When we go back here to Mike Wright, this line here on the low side, obviously the preferred line, as we know that those drivers will get the advantage getting around these corners a little faster than everyone else. As we are on lap number 174 of 250, we will be at lap number 175 when we come around, as Michael Overstreet gets his finger on the button, and we are going to see him just take off as we are green flag racing, and Overstreet is just amazing when it comes to getting restarted here. As, oh my, Kavaja gets on the inside of Bobby Blazer, and Bobby Blazer now gets himself reset, but John Bawalda has gotten it all wrong here, and we are back under caution as we see Bawalda on the high side over top of Chris Claude, and it looks like Bawalda on those cold tires just got it all wrong.
With the Buttkicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Buttkicker. The future is feeling.
In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have: breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today, and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air. And those pace car lights should be going off this time around as we will get ready for the choose cone. Of course, the choose cone does help guys determine which lane they want to be in on the restart here at Martinsville Speedway. And I got to be honest with you, it's getting to the point now where I'm starting to wonder exactly what's going to happen when we get underway. And I'll tell you what, I plan on looking right from the rear bumper of Michael Overstreet as we get ready to go green. That pace car is gone, and now we see Overstreet just getting away. Jeez, he gets himself all the way down here with next to no problem, as now he rolls it down the backstretch, just leaving everybody else in his wake, as now Bobby Blazer back into third position in this pile of cars. I'll tell you what, he is going to be fighting through that all night long. And now we see the 7 of Dakota Cave in fourth position, trying to lock it down underneath Joe Stafford, as it appears he is going to be able to chase down Blazer next with no challenge from Stafford at that point. Here on lap number 183 of 250, you're watching Monday Night NASCAR's Xfinity Series, brought to you by Buttkicker, RS Button Boxes, and of course Northeastern Fire and Air. And if you are just tuning in, you have definitely tuned in at a great time, as we are in the midst of stage number 3. These drivers have been working at it all night long. And, right now your race leader, Michael Overstreet, with just a 0.3 of a second lead over Kavaja Holt. Kavaja has been lurking all night, and we see him now working right behind Michael Overstreet. And I'll tell you what, Kavaja will match you step for step, and he will wait for you to make that mistake and move right in there. So right now, Michael Overstreet's got to be thinking, whoa! And it looks like Ian Humphreys has decided that he wanted to take that right to the face, as Humphreys just overcooks it getting into the turn and gets that car re-straightened. But of course, they're in the middle of the racetrack. Not a good place for it, as we are now on lap number 184. These cars coming down for what should be their money stop last set of tires. And we see Kavaja almost blocking Overstreet, trying to keep him out of his pit box. And we'll take a look at Kavaja here as he gets all the way around. He may have been confused about where that pit box was, but I'll tell you what, if we look back here, you can see Kavaja on the inside, which Kavaja does not belong there, as drivers are instructed to stay on the outside. And we see Kavaja just slowing Overstreet down just a hair. And folks, your new race leader is Aaron Mack in the number 31 South Point Toyota Supra here in front of Tim Trowbridge, who is back at the front of this piece. Tim, of course, just coming down pit road on lap number 159. Quite an interesting shakeup now, as many drivers have come down for their extra money stop, as Kavaja Holt, Bobby Blazer, Michael Overstreet, Joe Stafford, Dakota Cave, Jeff Carson, Zach Vaughn, Jarrett Small, Bob Nestor, and Ian Humphreys all came down pit road this time, as Aaron Mack is going to be in control of the field. And when he does take control of the field and that green flag flies, we will invite you to turn it up here on youtube.com on the Independence Racing Network. I'm Dave Regal, and we are glad to have you here. And folks, just as I thought we were going to be getting underway yet again here, it looks like we are under caution, as Jarrett Small seems to have gotten wrapped up in some mess. We will take a look at that. Jarrett Small in the number 17 black and purple Chevrolet. Of course, it's hard to tell it's a Chevrolet right now, but they almost went 3 wide, and it looks like Jeff Carson was looking for a place to go. And unfortunately, Jarrett Small was not far enough clear, as it looked like Carson was trying to get around Dakota Cave without damaging him. And we see Carson lock up those brakes right there. And as he goes to avoid Cave, just comes up and accidentally clips the 17 of Jarrett Small. So honestly, probably a no harm, no foul, as it looks like Jarrett Small has taken a race car to the face several times tonight. Glad to have everyone in with us tonight here on the Independence Racing Network. I am Dave Regal here in the Independence Racing Network studios in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania. And we are glad to be with you tonight. Plenty of action out on track tonight, as right now Aaron Mack, your race leader, following the pace car whose lights are now off. We have gone through that ever so confusing choose cone situation. And Aaron Mack, Tim Trowbridge, Mike Wright, Kavaja Holt, and Chris Cloud will round out your top 10, as Chris Cloud has managed to get himself all the way up here, up 10 spots. But Aaron Mack right now, your biggest mover. And as we are getting ready to go back green flag racing here, Aaron Mack has his finger on the button. The man in the stand has the green flag in his hand. And we are underway here once again at Martinsville Speedway in Martinsville, Virginia. 197 laps complete here, as Aaron Mack holding his own against Tim Trowbridge. And it almost looks like he's trying to keep Trowbridge up against the wall, knowing that he's not going to have the kind of the kind of drive off that he wants to get into that corner. Of course, we see Aaron Mack being pushed along here by Mike Wright, but now gets himself out in front of Trowbridge, who is not going to be put to get bed early. But I'll tell you what, they are getting real close as they are now all but 3 wide. Mike Wright decides to back off and let Trowbridge and Mack duke it out themselves, but now that opens the door for Kavaja as they have gone 3 wide with Tim Trowbridge on the high side. Kavaja and Mike Wright there with the inside, and now Kavaja uses Aaron Mack as the pick and gets himself set up for the drive off here back at the start-finish line, gets himself into second. Of course, Aaron Mack knows that he can't hold that as they rub, and oh my gosh, it sends Kavaja up into the wall, and Aaron Mack holds off like a stone wall on lap number 200 to maintain his lead over the 00 driven by Kavaja Holt. I'll tell you what, after that wreck there, I am surprised to see anybody not out there with their helmets off and their fists a flying here at Martinsville, as we're going to watch Kavaja Holt working alongside Aaron Mack here in the 31. And we're going to slow it down to about quarter speed because this was something that I got to be honest, it was a surprise to me, as Kavaja, usually not that kind of a driver, just does not get himself enough clearance. And we see Aaron Mack desperately holding on here, and Aaron Mack just driving forward as he drifts up the racetrack. It almost seemed like a little bit of netco, but they definitely would have met. So Aaron Mack, trying to defend his lead, winds up sending Kavaja Holt into the wall and all the way back to 14th position now. But, you know, Kavaja is definitely one of those drivers that he will not be put to bed early, folks. And quite frankly, I would be expecting to see him back up here toward the front in these next just under 50 laps, as we are at lap number 204 of 250.
With the Buttkicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Buttkicker, the future is feeling.
Folks, we welcome you here to Martinsville Speedway. If you're just tuning in, I can't believe you waited until now, but we are still glad to have you here on lap number 205 of 250. We will be at lap number 206 when Aaron Mack brings us back to green, as Mike Wright, in hot pursuit here, gets on the inside of Bobby Blazer. Blazer, of course, running right up close to Aaron Mack, who at this point has got to be running scared, as he knows that he hasn't been in since lap number 150, and these guys have all been in on lap number 177 and 186. 186 is when Blazer last came in, and Aaron Mack can't possibly have a whole lot of grip compared to Bobby Blazer behind him. Blazer, of course, getting the run off of that turn. As they dive down here, we are going to see some incredible racing between these three drivers, as Aaron Mack at this point is just holding on for dear life. And we see Bobby Blazer still trying to get around Aaron Mack, who, although he is on those older tires, is proving to be quite a tough competitor here, as Bobby Blazer working the rear bumper of Aaron Mack in that number 31 South Point Toyota. But this number 35 Ford definitely has Aaron Mack's number, as he is probably going to back off here and maybe let things cool off. But further back, we have Zach Vaughn in the number 91, up 10 spots from where he had started. But now we see just a tick further back, Tim Trowbridge right behind Jeff Carson in the 03 Napa Auto Parts Toyota. These drivers starting to turn this into a salad bowl, and things are starting to get tossed around with just such a short period of time left in this race, as we are on lap number 213 of 250, as stages 1 and 2 were definitely interesting, and now we have the 91 being passed, going yet another lap down, I should believe. Nope. Zach Vaughn currently running in 7th position, being passed by Jeff Carson. Carson and Vaughn duking it out side by side here, chasing down Kavaja Holt in the 00. These drivers not willing to give up any space here on the racetrack. In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have: breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today, and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air.
With the Buttkicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you...
And we are back under caution, as it looks like Kavaja Holt, on his way back up toward the front, had gotten himself wrapped up here. We see him on the outside of Jeff Carson, and Carson bumping into Kavaja and Tim Trowbridge, both strong contenders for the lead earlier on in this piece, now getting pushed right into the wall. Shouldn't be enough to end anybody's evening, though, as Kavaja in 11th position has been battling all night to get where he is. And folks, we will try to get back to hearing from our friends over at Buttkicker, as this caution did interrupt it.
With the Buttkicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Buttkicker. The future is feeling.
.220 of 250 laps complete here at Martinsville Speedway. Aaron Mack, your race leader. It has been a tumultuous third stage here on the Independence Racing Network. I'm Dave Regal here at the microphone, giving you all the ones and twos and everything in between as things have heated up to just about boiling with some of these drivers as they have been working all night long to keep these cars up front. And, of course, at the worst possible minute, you know, Jeff Carson gets into Kavaja Holt and Tim Trowbridge. Aaron Mack gets into it, you know, also with Kavaja Holt, you know, where these drivers, especially where Kavaja was just in for service, now it looks like Tim Trowbridge is in for service as well as Alexander Gangler and Brad Gunn. And I would be curious to see what happens here with Tim Trowbridge, as I know that he has got to be one frustrated driver as we are getting ready to go back to the choose cone. Now, keep in mind that the choose cone is all about strategy. You know, if your car is handling on the restart better on that inside line, then take the inside, you know, that way you can drive it down deep into the corners. But if you're better on the outside, you're able to float up there and then try to get around that car who's on the inside with a little bit more finesse, and it definitely takes a lot more skill, especially at a tiny paperclip like this 5.526 mile racetrack in Martinsville, Virginia. And if you are just tuning in on YouTube, Rebecca Miller has been with us every step of the way, as I have also. And she has been pulling for Dakota Cave all evening long. As we are here on lap 222, Aaron Mack takes the green flag, gets the jump over Blazer and Overstreet. But Dakota Cave being patient back there, he is one skilled driver, as patience at a track like this is definitely key. But now we see Bobby Blazer setting up to try to make the pass, and it looks like he is ready to just lift Aaron Mack out of the lead as he gets right on his bumper. And my goodness, here we are under caution again. And yet again, we do see that Kavaja Holt just drives it in too tough here, but looks like something happened with Bob Nestor in the number 29 Relative Properties Toyota Supra. And it looks like Bob just kind of got real tight out of nowhere. As it doesn't look like he had made any contact, and I would almost like to take one more look here in his cockpit, as I realize that these can get sort of mundane, as, you know, looking at replays is not something that everybody enjoys doing, but I'm definitely curious what happened, as we can see Bob starting out here on the backstretch. We see him take the turn, and then all of a sudden the car just stopped turning. You know, you could see right here that Bob wound up having the wheel cocked all the way to the left, but just went straight into that Whalen paint scheme there on the wall and took that wall right to the face. .24 laps to go here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series 250 at Martinsville. as these drivers have been at it since about 9 o'clock Eastern, as we are now at 11 p.m. Eastern, and things starting to heat up as the night has gotten later and later. Aaron Mack, your race leader, with Bobby Blazer in second, Michael Overstreet in third, Mike Wright, Dakota Cave, John Bawalda, Jeff Carson, Bob Nestor, Zach Vaughn, and Chris Claude round out your top 10. Now, as I've been talking about for the last several laps, Aaron Mack last came into pit on lap number 150. Now, he's been holding his own against Bobby Blazer here in the late stage of this race. But I have to believe that eventually his luck is going to run out, as Bobby Blazer on the outside looking to get the jump. Aaron Mack gets the go, and we are underway again with 22 laps to go. And now Michael Overstreet chasing down Blazer, as he is now going to hold off both Blazer and Michael Overstreet. Aaron Mack holding his own against these two cars who last each came in on lap number 186. He's going to let them battle it out behind them as he is holding them both out. Blazer gets loose and shuffled out to the outside, which gives Aaron Mack just the amount of time that he needs to get down there. Now it's all up to Michael Overstreet to get the run on Aaron Mack, who has this thing on a rail, and there is definitely an angel in the outfield watching him. Speaking of angels in the outfield, check out Major League Baseball's opening week here, as we opened Major League Baseball season last Thursday. And lots of action there over on ESPN, ESPN+, all of your regional sports networks. Go out and support your local baseball team, whether it's a Major League team, minors, or even your Little League team. Aaron Mack here, meanwhile, in Martinsville, Virginia, with 19 laps to go, in the number 31 Toyota Supra from South Point. Up 16 positions, and my goodness, here we are with 19 laps to go. We are under caution, and it looks like Michael Overstreet might have been involved in this one, folks. Oh, no. We see Michael Overstreet catching this curb right to the face. You see how he's lined up here, pointed right at that candy cane colored curb. We see him just take that curb, bounce up into Mike Wright. Dakota Cave doors him. Of course, Dakota Cave couldn't have known what was going on there. Dakota's been running a pretty clean night. In fact, we are going to back out to Dakota Cave for this replay. And, you know, Dakota had no place to go. He saw him bouncing, but if he would have gotten on a break, he would have gone up. Either way. So, definitely kind of a rough night there. And then we see Chris Claude and Jarrett Small involved in this piece, as Chris Claude comes down here into turn 2. And we see him just having to come to a rolling stop there. And as we mentioned earlier, iRacing live timing and scoring does occasionally let us know that it's a crash, even if it's just somebody slowing down to avoid. Thank you, Rebecca. We are glad to have you along, as she is cheering on her son, Dakota Cave. And, of course, we appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for the kind words, Rebecca. That is Rebecca Miller, the mother of Dakota Cave. Glad to have her in with us tonight. And, folks, nobody else has really been talking in that live chat, as all of you have been tuned in. Let us know who you're pulling for, as we are here with 16 laps to go now on lap number 235. At Martinsville, and I don't think we're going to see anybody coming down pit road. And at this point, I'm more curious if we're going to see Aaron Mack here maybe cycling this car to save some fuel. The Fort Riley, Kansas native in the South Point number 31 Toyota Supra leads this race, and as you guys just saw there at home, he has been holding his own here on older tires, on less fuel than everybody else for about the last 30 laps. So, you know, a tip of the cap to Mr. Mack as we are getting ready to go back green flag racing in the next couple of laps here. Bud Connor, welcome into the YouTube live chat. Bud Connor is cheering on Aaron Mack here. So, Bud, your fella here from Fort Riley, Kansas, doing one heck of a job up atop this piece. And with 14 laps to go, we will be at 13 laps to go once these cars cross the start-finish line. The iRacing.com pace car dives down pit road. Aaron Mack getting ready to hold himself together here as he gets the jump over Dakota Cave and Mike Wright. And I'll tell you what, right now, Dakota Cave and Mike Wright going to have to battle each other out. And Dakota Cave looks like he is going to hang Mike Wright out to dry behind Aaron Mack once they get up there, as it looks like he is setting him up to use him like a pick, as it's going to slow Mike Wright down behind Aaron Mack once they get there. But even so, at this point, we can see Dakota Cave working his way up into second position. He is up 8 spots from where he started this race back in 10th. So definitely a hard-fought race here as Bobby Blazer gets behind Mike Wright. These drivers working their tails off here in the waning laps of the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series 250 here at Martinsville Speedway in Martinsville, Virginia. And we see Aaron Mack getting down there, logging these laps. Now has himself open on older tires, almost 0.4 of a second over Dakota Cave. Dakota Cave, I'll tell you what, if you're watching him at home, Rebecca Miller, you are going to have to tell him, get that tail moving, because he doesn't have too much time left as we are 9 to go. And Bobby Blazer and everybody else now falling in single file behind your race leader, Aaron Mack. And quite frank, wow! Michael Overstreet getting around the high side of Bobby Blazer, and now it looks like they are going to be all kinds of bunched up here as we're moving closer and closer to the checkered flag. We can see Blazer working the inside of the 91 of Zach Vaughn right now. But the story of the night so far is Dakota Cave looking to close in on Aaron Mack. And if you're going to make the move with 7 to go, this is the time to do it. Dakota Cave with that number 7 Toyota Supra cranked up all the way. And I'll tell you what, Rebecca Miller getting real excited in that YouTube chat. Folks, make sure that you're subscribing and turning on those bell notifications. They help that algorithm with YouTube so that more people can find us out here in that entire sphere that is the YouTube video realm. And I'll tell you what, Aaron Mack looking like he's going to try to hold on to it as Bud Connor cheering him on. But Rebecca Miller, who has been hanging on with us from the drop of the green flag tonight, cheering on. Oh, no. And we are under caution with 4 laps to go. So for Aaron Mack, definitely something he didn't want to see. But we're looking here at Tim Trowbridge. It looks like Tim, with just about 3/4 of a car left, just got loose. And, you know, it almost looks like he was driving just half of a car at that point, as what's left of that number 74 Ford just comes all the way around. So, folks, we are going to have a green-white checker situation here at Martinsville Speedway. And green-white checker, the way that this works in NASCAR is they're going to wave the green flag. Aaron Mack will cross the start-finish line when the green flag is waved, and they will race around to catch that white flag. Now, if something happens between the time that the green flag is waved and the white flag is waved, we will have a caution again, and we will restart and try it all over again. But if they get all the way around to the white flag waves, then the next flag, whether it's yellow or checkered, is what's going to end the race. So right now, Mike Wright and Aaron Mack, oh my, we're going to see where Aaron Mack chose to line up as Mike Wright in the number 38 Ford, who last pitted on lap 177, is going to be set up on the outside of Aaron Mack. Aaron Mack, of course, coming in on lap number 150, has really stretched this car to its absolute mechanical limit for this night. Green-white checker attempt number 1 here at Martinsville in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series has Aaron Mack out in front of everybody else right now, holding off Dakota Cave in the number 7, as Mike Wright, the number 38 Ford, is going at it hammer and tongs with Dakota. They go into turns 3 and 4. And it looks like Aaron Mack going to hang on to that lead as they come back to the front stretch. The white flag is in the air. The next flag will end the race as Aaron Mack, on nearly 100 lap-old tires, is keeping pace far ahead of the field now as he has opened up 3/4 of a second. Just 2 more turns to go as Dakota Cave in second and Mike Wright in third are battling it out behind him. But your race winner is going to be Aaron Mack in the number 31 South Point Toyota. I'll tell you what, Aaron Mack has earned every bit of this win as he played pit strategy in with just in front of Dakota Cave and Mike Wright. And Jeff Carson from Team Joe Gibbs Racing in the 03 Napa Auto Parts Toyota Supra in 4th. Michael Overstreet rounds out your top 5, but we will take a moment away here and get ourselves ready to hear from Aaron Mack as he prepares to celebrate. In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have: breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air.
With the Buttkicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Buttkicker, the future is feeling.
Fans, welcome back to Martinsville Speedway as we are going to interview our top 3 drivers here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series race. And right now, want to touch base with our 3rd place finisher, Mike Wright of the number 38 Ford. Mike Wright, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother? Man, pretty darn good here in the booth, but you keeping it up here in the top 5 all night. Very impressive run as you were chasing down Bobby Blazer. You definitely may have edged him out tonight in the point standings, that you were just trailing him by only 10 at the beginning of this race. What do you attribute tonight's 3rd place finish to? Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, of course, when you were there in camera view, I mean, your car definitely one of the least damaged out on the track tonight. So definitely a salute to you for keeping it clean, every step of the way. Do you have anybody that you would like to thank before we cut you loose here in Greensboro? All right, man. Well, you and Larry head on back there to Greensboro and have yourself a beer because you have earned it. And we appreciate you here on the Independence Racing Network. Good luck tomorrow night in Truck Series. That was Greensboro, North Carolina. Oh my goodness, folks! Just as an apology, it looks like we missed all of that interview with Mike Wright due to an audio glitch, but we do have Dakota Cave for you now. Here is Dakota Cave, the second place finisher on the podium tonight out of Fishersville. In the booth, Dakota Cave, Dave Regal, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, listen, heck of a run tonight. Rebecca Miller, your mom, was out there cheering you on in the YouTube live chat. She is proud of you tonight, and you should absolutely be proud for what you just accomplished tonight.
She supports me every race, her and my dad and my girlfriend. So I shout out to all of them. They always support me, and definitely a tough track, but we got it done. Got a second place finish.
I'll tell you what, man, here on these last several restarts, I was waiting for you to try to wedge your way around Aaron Mack, and it seemed like he was able to make that number 31 Toyota just like 3 cars wide to keep you guys behind him. How was it trying to get around him, especially here in the late stage?
It was definitely tough. I feel like we'd have had a lot better shot if it had stayed green instead of having the caution, but he definitely really good job at blocking. He never let us get a run on him. He never slipped up, and I might have put the bumper to him if it came down to it, but never got a shot at him, and we'll take second though.
Yeah, I mean, second place is something not to be ashamed of, especially because you did come into this race in third place in season standings, as you were only 89 points behind Mike Wright, and of course you and Mike both finishing ahead of Bobby Blazer, who finished 7th tonight. So definitely going to be a shakeup in points coming here.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to catch them, but if they slip up a little bit, hopefully we can get second or not first and just try to lock ourselves in the playoffs.
Absolutely. And is there anybody else you'd like to give a shout out to tonight as we close this bad boy out?
I think the only other shout out that we have is RKM Setup Shop. They build our setups every week, and they give us something fast to race with in every series that we run, and we appreciate everything they do for us.
All right, man. Well, enjoy the second place podium win or podium position there, and we will talk to you hopefully next week on the podium.
No, absolutely. Thank you, Dave. Oh, shout out to you, by the way, for everything that you do in the broadcast.
Oh, thank you, sir. We appreciate listen, I couldn't have fun up here if it wasn't for you guys down there on the track. So much appreciated, brother.
Thank you.
That was our second place finisher, Dakota Cave. Then, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, driver of the number 31 South Point Toyota Supra, Aaron Mack from Fort Riley, Kansas. You got a copy, brother?
I do, Dave. What's going on?
Man, listen, this was the most exciting finish I've seen in a long time, especially because you were out there on old tires and probably lighter because of less fuel. What do you attribute this to?
I had to take the gamble at one of the last cautions that the lead lap cars actually came in on. Like Mike and Dakota there, they came in on one of the older, past laps there, and I was on 103 lap old tires.
You know what though? On 103 lap old tires, you still made that thing look like you had come in on lap 186 along with Dakota Cave. I mean, just absolutely impressive, man.
I just had to hit my marks nonetheless too, and that was the thing.
Yeah, I mean, you had that car pretty well dialed in. Now, would you attribute that to skill or setup?
Uh, it could be both. Nonetheless, the team providing a huge setup that we needed. You know,
Absolutely. And, just as we get ready to close this out tonight, um, you definitely had Bud Connor there along with Natasha Plank in the YouTube live chat. So you definitely had some people in the stands tonight cheering you on.
yeah, yeah. It was great to see that they're supporting what they're seeing and providing what you're broadcasting.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice when we have people there, from start to finish, keeping an eye on things. So, is there anybody that you would like to give a shout out to tonight?
Definitely the team. 2311. We have Leo, Austin, Alex, even Bryson. All those guys. The team itself. And then you, Dave. For being able to put the show on.
Yeah, man, listen, it's always a pleasure when I can go ahead and put this show on. And, you guys just give me something exciting to watch for the night. I mean, especially after racing Cup on a Sunday night and, all the stress that comes with that, to come up here and watch you guys duke it out, going at it hammer and tongs, it's always exciting.
Definitely, most definitely.
All right, man. Well, listen, we're going to cut you loose, but we appreciate you here at Independence Racing Network as we'll let you go.
All right, sounds great, Dave. We'll see you next week.
All right, man. That was Aaron Mack, your race winner, and I'll tell you what, Aaron Mack definitely had worked his tail off to keep that car up there all night long. And, these other drivers that are part of the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series all worked their butts off tonight. They all earned exactly where they are in the field. As Aaron Mack finishes that race atop the standing or atop the leaderboard here in first place, we do want to say that it goes without saying. These drivers were working for it all night long. There was nobody that was gonna run away with anything. And Aaron Mack sits atop in P1 with the win here, followed by Dakota Cave, Mike Wright, Jeff Carson, Michael Overstreet rounds out your top five. John Bawalda III up 15 positions, finishing in sixth place. Bobby Blazer in seventh. Tim Trowbridge, Ian Humphreys, and Chris Claude round out your top 10. Bob Nestor in the number 29 Toyota Supra, your Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series commissioner, finishes 11th. With Zach Vaughn, Jarrett Small, Kavaja Holt, Joe Stafford, Alexander Gangler, Jackson Derby, Corey Burkett, Tom McGee, Brad Gunn rounding out your top 20. These drivers all working their tails off tonight, as well as Matt Mackin, Carlos Ramos, Eugenio Alonso, who had been up front for a very good portion of the race, just had run into some hard luck there. Followed by J.C. Gibson, Jarrett Phillips, and Ryan Samuelson, who was actually your winner last year, but unfortunately did not have the luck that he needed to get around this piece tonight. So, folks, next week we will be heading to Bristol Dirt, but it is a non-points race here for the NASCAR Xfinity Series on Monday nights. But, we are glad to have you here every week in and out because without you, the fans watching at home, we don't have anybody to be performing for. The drivers on the track don't have anybody to cheer them on, and I don't have anybody to tell me whether or not I'm doing a good job or not here in the broadcast booth. So, this is all a team effort from the drivers on the track to the crew chiefs to the pit men to this weirdo sitting up here in the booth. So glad to have all of you with us tonight as you make every night special, especially when we get to be involved in, what's going on in the YouTube live chat, and seeing you folks at home interacting with us and with the drivers. So it's always good to know that we're making an impact. So, one thing that I do want to say is that it's real special that we can sit here together and watch these races. Next week, of course, at Bristol Dirt, it's going to be a completely different animal. Cup Series, of course, going to be there on Easter Sunday at 8:30 p.m. I'll be at the microphone, but you will have to catch us over on ESPN on YouTube or SRM Sim Racing Media over on Facebook. So we will be simulcast on both services. But I will be at the microphone instead of the steering wheel next Sunday night. Tomorrow night, of course, over on the Premier Motorsports Network or Performance Motorsports Network is going to be the Tuesday Night Truck Series. So make sure that you're checking them out over there. And listen, just glad to have you here. We love having you here. We love being with you. And we love just hanging out, here on the Independence Racing Network. So for everybody here, just me, thank you for joining us. And as you go through life tomorrow, make sure that you savor 1 second, 1 moment, and share the love. Good night, everybody.